So good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Now, my topic of discussion is largely focusing on how digital technologies can impact the capital projects space. And in the previous session, we obviously heard some expectations, some norms in terms of what digital can impact, not just during the operate phase of the project, but also during the build phase. And that's what I'm going to deep dive into. And as part of Accenture, we've called this or coined the term Capital Projects X.0, which is essentially focusing on how digital can impact the entire area and bring about the desired outcomes. Now, before I start on the topic, I just wanted to share one slide on a recent research that we had done. This involved about 900 executives in the oil and gas industry globally. And what is interesting is if you look at the left-hand side corner, right, right up front during the capex phase, there is an expectation or a route to value around 10 to 15% that is coming out as part of the research. So this is what the industry experts themselves are saying. These are people who are operating the businesses want, right? Operational excellence as a trend has always focused on route to value and which has translated into EBITDA. But very interestingly, cost reduction during the capex phase is also a key expectation. So on that note, let me straight away look at what does the route to value look like, right? And if I talk about the capex space, there is significant value creation opportunity, and the value creation opportunity lies across the life cycle of capex, right? Where we can look at the engineering phase by putting in place a digital engineering environment, a collaborative platform to ensure changes can be minimized. We can look at procurement where the entire spend right from sourcing to actual ordering can get impacted by applied intelligence, which is a combination of analytics and artificial intelligence, right? And more importantly, during the key execution or the project management phase, where how do we leverage the connected ecosystem? So we heard thoughts around IoT. So how can we look at the connected men, material, machinery ecosystem to help us give real-time insight on project progress and also enable us to fast-track schedule completion, right? So those are some areas within the EPC value chain where digital clearly has a demonstrated route to value. Having said that, it's not that people have not tried this in India. The POC route or the scale-up route has already started to happen. Now let's see, where exactly are we in the journey and how much has been realized, right? When we went back and looked a deep dive into the insights that were talked about by these 900 executives, what we found out was that although there was a clear requirement of 10 to 15% capex reduction, the value realization on the ground still had a gap, right? And the reason that it had a gap was because what we found, although there are initiatives applicable across the value chain, these initiatives are being taken up in a point mechanism. So what do I mean by a point mechanism? These are independent initiatives not talking to each other, right? So some people are looking at putting the connected ecosystem in place. Others are putting a collaborative engineering platform in place. People are looking at analytics and AI to impact areas across the value chain. But there is no concerted platform or an effort that looks at integrating all of these and ensure that these talk to each other, right? So that is the primary insight that the research showed as to why the route to value is actually not getting realized on ground. Having said that, given the insight, what did Accenture come up with as part of the solution or an offering to take to the market, which is more real-time and more need-based, is an integrated platform, right? And I want to talk about 4 or 5 things that an integrated platform needs to have as essentials to ensure that the integration and the automatic legacy aspect is also taken care of. Number 1, we need to have a touchless and lean operations. If you have multiple manual touch points and you need to actually make 2 digital initiatives talk to each other with manual intervention, there is obviously value leakage. Number 2, we need to ensure that we are focusing on a superior user experience because that is what is going to make it sustainable, right? And also build in the satisfaction within the employee to actually motivate him for use. Number 3, there has to be embedded process intelligence. So it's not just about leveraging digital as the end game. Digital is only an enabler, right? Your process has to be intelligent enough to factor in all the requirements that digital can help it with. Number 4, the entire aspect of seamless collaboration, which is not just within a particular initiative, but also ensuring that these initiatives talk to each other. And an integrated platform for project management is something that I'm going to talk about, is a key showcase for the same, right? And finally, how does all of this translate and give you a real-time visual of what the performance at the project level is important, and ensuring that this platform or this integrated view is open source and largely flexible is the key need of the hour, right? So this is, in our view, the focus around what needs to be looked at from a digital and technology perspective as far as CAPEX is concerned. And this is the way to go for future. Now let's do a further deep dive into how this platform view looks for the various functions that we talked about, which are route to value, which is part of the value chain. Now if you look at project management and execution, right, there are portals or planning tools that are in place. How do we ensure that the engineering, procurement and planning tools talk to each other? But more importantly, how do I also ensure that my construction update is being fed into this platform in a real time? And that could be in two modes. One is obviously using a mobility application, but foremost is how do I get real-time updates on my resources, right? So how do I leverage the IoT ecosystem, which not just operates in a standalone manner, but is actually talking to this platform? So my connected worker, my connected material, my connected P&M, giving me real-time visibility in parallel with to the project progress that I've achieved. So this is an end-to-end view of how an integrated project management platform should look like. And clearly, the end state is to look at AI and applied intelligence to give you real-time insight for decision making, right? And all of this resides at a single click within a single environment. Moving on to engineering, and we heard some of our distinguished speakers in the last session talk about a collaborative platform. Now, what is the true state of implementation of this platform, right? So a true state of implementation of this platform needs to comprise of key layers, right? So first of all is the digital track that you choose, but more importantly, what are the themes within the engineering system that you want to collaborate upon? What are the interventions from an operational excellence perspective you want to impact in engineering? So those clearly are cycle time reduction, ensuring how effectively you plan your workforce, how are you managing your data and document, and also looking at collaborating with the right system and processes. Now for each of these, there are specific use cases that are available that can be built, stitched in to create an integrated engineering management platform, which not only looks at bringing in new initiative, but also talks about helping create a stitched view, which is in line with your operating model. Right. So that's the view on engineering. Procurement obviously is the biggest beneficiary from a digital enablement perspective. Within Accenture, we manage about $170 billion of spend on our Radix platform. This is again a combination of legacy systems, which is your ERP and your e-sourcing platforms, but also including elements of artificial intelligence, analytics, and RPA, right? Let me talk about a further view of what this platform looks like. So here what we've done is, if you look at the second and the third layer, we have kind of brought in two differentiators. One is the innovation and co-creation view, which looks at bringing the best of breed of startups that are currently available in the market to collaborate with you on your journey, right? So that's point one. And the second is to build in accelerators, which are compatible with your legacy systems to give you added value, right? And when you combine this with your legacy system, that is the true view that you get from a procurement standpoint. How does the end view look like? So the end view is, I would say completely mesmerizing. Here you would find artificial intelligence, predictive capabilities and analytics combining to give you incremental value by impacting the sourcing and category management journey as well as the procure to pay journey. So whether it is around spend analytics, whether it is around predictive analytics, whether it is around collaborative intelligent advisors across contracts, across performance, all of this is part of your digital accelerator, which can give you incremental value through digital. And just to also give you another example of how the journey could look like for a procurement or a sourcing professional in a day-to-day life, across each process touch points, there are multiple enablers that are available, right? Right from the contracting stage to the, the ordering stage, digital technologies through automation, through analytics, through advisors, through AI can impact each of these process steps. So the journey that we need to undertake is obviously well carved out. This is the last slide that I want to talk about, and when we when I started the presentation, I talked about the expectation of 10 to 15%, reduction or cost savings or capex savings. That is the, clear requirement from the industry. But if we are able to put this integrated view around engineering, procurement, project management, and execution, I think that benefit number can even go higher. And all of this translates into each of these systems talking to each other, giving you incremental value on cost savings as well as schedule adherence, schedule performance. So with that, I'll pause here and we'll be happy to take any questions down the line. Thank you.